Welcome to Please Me, the award-winning sexuality podcast bringing you bold conversations and big clit energy. I'm Eve, your host, and I'm thrilled to announce that Please Me is now the #1 sexuality podcast in the USA and worldwide. This show is all about reclaiming pleasure and rewriting my narrative from trauma to sexual liberation. Join me and my guests as we dive into conversations around orgasm equality, self-love, body positivity, and essential sex education. Let's reclaim pleasure and close the orgasm gap, one empowering conversation at a time. Did you miss last week's episode, Big Clit Energy, Unlocking Sexual Confidence? If feeling confident in the bedroom is something you struggle with, catch the replay and start your journey toward owning your pleasure unapologetically. I hope you've enjoyed these previously recorded webinars that are hosted monthly on SDC.com as I prepare for the release of Season 6. Sponsored by the Please Me Health Collective, these free monthly sessions explore sexual health, pleasure, empowerment, and biohacking for sexual wellness. Join the Please Me Health Collective, my dedicated group on SDC.com, where our community comes together to learn, grow, and connect. Check the show notes for a free trial code and check out my next free webinar, A Gift from Me to You. A huge thank you to everyone who's rated, reviewed, and shared Please Me. Because of you, we're now the #1 sexuality podcast in the USA and around the globe. Your support means the world and continues to amplify these essential conversations around pleasure, healing, and empowerment. Keep the love coming, leave a review, share your favorite episode, and help us reach even more listeners around the globe. Prefer to read? Subscribe to my newsletter on Substack for exclusive updates and more Please Me related news. I fund this show completely myself, and every new Patreon subscriber literally helps keep it alive and growing. I'm putting everything I've got into making this show. If you've ever thought about supporting it, now's the time to join me on Patreon for ad-free episodes and early releases, and my eternal gratitude for your support. Please Me is for mature audiences. Sit back, relax, and surrender to the pleasure of Please Me. ASN Lifestyle Magazine is your go-to source for sex-positive, sophisticated content covering everything from the swinger lifestyle and adult entertainment to intimacy, wellness, and more. You can read every digital issue for free, and subscribers get access to exclusive content. See the show notes for the link to subscribe and check out their Instagram. I'm excited to share that I now have a monthly column in ASN called Big Clit Energy, a Please Me series. Don't miss it and subscribe today. Hello and welcome to Please Me, the podcast that aims to destigmatize conversations about sex and sexual health by turning the sheets into our classroom. Today, I am so excited to welcome two couples to the show. We're going to be having an amazing discussion, and I want to introduce them. They're Jerry. Wave, please, Jerry. There's Jerry back there. Eunice. And they're a married couple, and Tig and Nadine. And today we are around their kitchen. This is not their kitchen table, this is their kitchen counter, but we are going to be talking about kitchen table polyamory. And they are two married couples that actually live together, and they practice a form of kitchen table polyamory that I want to talk about today. And so I'm so excited to welcome you guys to the show. Welcome to Please Me.
Thank you. We like to be pleased.
Yes, so I want to talk all about that. So first of all, there are so many different relationship styles out there. There are swingers, there are polyamorous relationships. People consider themselves sapiosexual and gynosexual. I mean, there's so many different categories. So, and every single person has their own individual feel for what they want and like in their life. And so I would love for you guys just one by one to tell me what your relationship style is. And it could be different from your partner's, but tell me what your relationship style is. And we'll start with Tig right here when I move my head.
I think that Nadine and I, my wife, our relationship style is that we have very open communication. We are allowed to please ourselves and others, and I would say invite them into our lives and have a relationship with them outside of our own relationship. I would say that's kind of what we would do.
Okay, very good. And Eunice?
So we are swingers first, I guess, me and my husband. And second, we are also in what you would call poly relationships. But we also play together. We play separate, away from each other, not in the same room. And we also carry other relationships, whether it's friendships or more than friendships. And we also share some of those relationships with each other.
Okay, very good. And Nadine?
So just like Eunice kind of said, we're swingers, Tiggy and I swingers. I say we're in an open relationship where communication is extremely important. That's probably my biggest thing, communication. But we're in an open relationship. We play together, separate. We travel together, separate. Basically allowed to do pretty much whatever I want, as long as, I communicate, check in with each other. And we do also enjoy having that time together.
Fantastic. And Jerry?
Wow, where do I begin? There's many layers to this thing. As they've all said, open for sure, but swingers first and foremost through and through. That's the origin of our being together and our relationship. Obviously, that has manifested into different forms to this point, umpteen years later. And so, to her point, we have engaged in, somebody asked me if we're poly. I said no. And then they're like, well, you have a relationship with somebody else. I said, your wife? I said, yeah. They said, well, you're poly. So, that's basically how they kind of broken down. And like I said, it's like lifestyle swingers. The definition is basically individualized. So I'll say the same thing with poly. It's kind of, I don't think we fit a certain definition to it. We just do what works for us. Is it open? Sure. Is it fluid? Yes. By individual and person, but first and foremost, our openness has allowed us to branch out and to be with other people. At first, I wanted a girlfriend just as a girlfriend, just as a play partner. That evolved into girlfriend, meaning relationship with someone else. I think we started this because we asked the question, could you love more than one person? And we both said yes. So that sparked a conversation of kind of where we are today some years ago. But we learn more about it every day. We learn more about ourselves every day. So it's a different puzzle every time we come to the table with how this kind of works.
Okay, and you touched exactly upon what the definition of polyamory is, which is the concept that love is infinite and that it can't be contained by, a relationship. And it can be contained if you believe in monogamy and it's a choice that you make. But the concept of loving infinitely or having the ability to love more than one person is really the concept of polyamory. And so you guys basically said, both of you, Eunice and Jerry, that you both could love more than one person. And I believe that too. And so swinging, polyamory all falls under the umbrella of ethical non-monogamy. And this is a choice that people make. It's a choice that people have. Monogamy is not the only answer out there. So this is why I really love to do shows about, these types of relationships, because I love to model the fact that there's other healthy relationships that exist out there. And it's not only like, crazy wild people doing this. Every single one of them has their own career, and so they are just regular people in the community, but they choose to have this lifestyle. And so I wanted to talk to them about how they live their lives. So they all live together. And so what does a week in the life of the family dynamic that you guys have created look like here?
First, let me speak to like the love thing. I love them both. So like I think that's what makes us like be able to live together and, like be in the kitchen together, eat meals together. We don't necessarily have to be like, oh, we have to cook for everybody or we have to buy food for everybody. But we sit and share and like, because I think because
like
it's new. Yeah, we're like a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like a family.
And we do intertwine sometimes. And also, you're asking about a day here. So let's go to like a Friday night. It can go from this to all of a sudden the doorbell starts ringing and friends start coming over and we're like having drinks and it all of a sudden we look up and it's 5:00 in the morning. So we're talking, drinking, having fun with each other. It's just a combined thing. On a work night, because I think it is kind of new, we do this a lot. So well, especially me and Nadine, we kind of, I think because we're trying to get used to the living situation, maybe we kind of like just like, oh, let's do shots and let's talk shit and do whatever. So yeah, and then we're like, okay, it's time for bed, and that's that.
I think the interesting part is that we live together, but just for clarity, we're not in a relationship together. We live together, we're close. I guess in a way, we do have a relationship with each other, but just not in the, I guess, traditional sense. That's something that we kind of like said, this is what we are. But if you think about it, the way we maneuver, because we are so close and consider each other family, like it's almost like we are in a relationship together in a way. We make sure each other's okay. I travel a lot, so Teague makes sure Eunice is okay. And so it's just a very collective effort of our being under the same roof right now. So it's definitely a lot of fun for sure.
And I think it still allows us to both have enough space that we can have our own lives separate from each other's lives, as well as have the life together. Very good myself.
Yeah, we're in the common area right now, but again, mostly we're upstairs space. You got the downstairs space, but again, the house is big enough to where we don't have to feel like we have to be in each other's space at all times to kind of like feel the white noise. We allow each other to do their own thing, and it just effortlessly flows together when it wants to come together, and it just comes together when it should.
I love that. And I want to just jump back in here and talk about sovereignty, because that is a concept that came up in another show. And, a lot of times in traditional relationships, especially in monogamous relationships, and I'm talking about even like purity culture type relationships where the woman, when marrying her husband, loses her sovereignty, right? Because suddenly there's like this level of control. And so here in these relationships, it really feels to me from what you're explaining that sovereignty is really something that's important to you, and radical honesty, as Nadine discussed and said, communication is so important, is something that you guys practice. So I'm just curious because I know that, in these types of relationships, communication is super important. And I'd love to know if you've experienced any feelings of jealousy when other relationships may come into play that you may feel challenged by, or if that's something that you've already worked through. I'd love your take on jealousy.
Well, for me, I've never really been, I would say, a jealous.
No, you're not.
I'm not a jealous person at all. My point of view was jealousy was a weak emotion, so you should get over it. And never let jealousy, sometimes jealousy can influence your decisions that you make. I've been a bartender for a large portion of my life, and I've seen a lot of relationships and jealousy, and things get turmoil, and decisions are made in haste, and it's just a bad thing. So if you can check your jealousy and put the facts aside and let your emotions not drive your decisions, then I think you can manage a little bit better. So that's why I try not to get jealous in our relationship. So I try to keep things at a, keep calm, make wise decisions. That's what I would think.
So I think jealousy is a normal thing, but I also think jealousy is something that you can't control. So for me and our dynamics, we have discussed, we always communicate about what we're doing. We try to communicate as much. Sometimes
We're
but
not perfect.
but if I've agreed to do something and I feel those feelings coming up, I check myself. I'm like, well, I kind of agreed to do that. But then if I do have a problem with it, then we discuss it. And then that brings things back into perspective. But I tell my friends, you can't be mad at your boyfriend or husband if you told him he can go to a party, a lifestyle party, and he plays with somebody and you're not there. You gave him permission. So why are you now upset about it? You agreed to that. So that's how I see jealousy. I think you can control that part of yourself. I think back when I was younger, I was very jealous. And then when I got into this lifestyle, I learned that this person that I'm with is always coming back home with me. So I think that's where my sanity comes from. I don't feel jealous. But look at me, I'm fine as hell.
Exactly.
When we first started in a lifestyle, there's no way you would have asked me, would you live with another couple? Mm-hmm. I would have said no. We were, we didn't play separate. We were always together. I would have never been able to manage what we're doing now. They just had to evolve through the years and with a lot of communication. Yeah. He is definitely like he said, he's just not jealous. And sometimes I'm like, wait, you've got to be a little bit jealous, just a little bit. No.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Nadine, because in another episode, we talked about jealousy and how sometimes it's an early sign of a red flag when someone's so jealous that they refuse to allow you to have friends that you used to have, or even have communication with your family because they're jealous or feel intimidated by that relationship in one way, shape, or form. And that is a big red flag, right? And jealousy is, a normal emotion. It's like anger and happiness and all of the other emotions. It comes up. But when you practice radical honesty and you talk through why you're feeling jealous, a lot of times the basis is fear of one form or another. And if you can work out why you're feeling jealous and what that foundation for the jealousy is, you can sort of tease out what those reasons are, and then your partner can help you to feel comfortable so that you can get beyond those emotions. So it sounds like you guys have practiced that many times. I would love to hear your take, Jerry, on sovereignty, because I think that you guys all practice sovereignty in a really beautiful way.
Well, I'm gonna go to sovereignty in a minute, but
Yes.
I'll come back to jealousy
Sure.
in just a second because I view it a little different.
Okay.
I think as much as I don't show it, there's always a sense of jealousy. But for me, I think jealousy means you care. It's kind of like the argument of when a woman starts arguing, it means she doesn't care. I think jealousy is a human emotion that is necessary, that we all have. I think it's our fight or flight. But I also think for the most part, jealousy equals insecure. I'm okay with her feeling jealous. What I don't want her to feel is insecure of her position. Because jealousy, you can get over that. You can go in the corner and cry. I don't care about jealousy. But what I do care about is you making sure your position and your stance is solid. Because that is where I want to separate jealousy versus the security. Because jealousy, I think sometimes you want the person to be jealous, right? I think we've all gone through stages of life. You try to make somebody mad or jealous, right? Why? You want to see if they care. Same thing. Jealousy just means that, okay, I care, I'm attached. Now, some people operate through jealousy differently. Like I know Tig seems to he doesn't have a jealous bone in his body. I don't either per se, but there are some things or acts that can make me be like, You know what I mean? I feel like that's reserved for me or that's mine. So we all have that sense, right? I remember she was dealing with this guy. They were poly and dumb, and the guy would be telling her like, hey, I want you to call me at this time or text me at this time or wear this color underwear. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? What are you doing? Right? There was a jealousy piece of me involved in that. So I think anything that's different kind of makes you a little jealous. But again, remembering why you're in the lifestyle is for difference, is for variety, because we have our significant others. We have who we want to be with. The other stuff is just fun and fluff, and what we've engaged in is extra relationships, so it adds another dynamic. But I just think jealousy is a human emotion that's really necessary in a way. Honestly, it kind of keeps you grounded, kind of make sure you're doing the right things for the right reasons.
Before you go to that, I would like to say something about jealousy too, because Nadine touched upon it, is that sometimes people, like you mentioned, Jerry, wants to have their partner be jealous because they want to know that their partner cares about them in one way, shape, or form, right? And so they're seeking that, that it's like, this, especially early on in a relationship when jealousy comes up and they're like, oh, that's so cute. He's jealous. It must mean that he cares about me, right? And, everybody has their level of emotions, and some people will feel more jealous than others. And some people have worked through it where they're like, okay, the emotion doesn't come up as much. But I love that you clarified that, Jerry, because, even though you say you don't really feel jealous most of the time, there are instances where you do, where it does come up, where you have felt that way. So yeah, that was a really great explanation. So I would love to hear your take on sovereignty.
Well, I think we just organically fall into it in a way, based on just how we are, not only as a couple with each other, kind of, like you said, relenting that control to someone. It's kind of like the dom sub dynamic. Really, what people don't understand is the sub that's the one that's really in control. So it's the same kind of concept of kind of releasing that control of emotion and feeling and well-being to someone else. So I think, again, we kind of fall into that because of how we live and how our lifestyle is. But again, because we're so close, it just adds another layer to it. Because I think there's some close people that we have in our circle that I don't know if I would necessarily even want to think about staying together, right? So there's obviously levels to it, for sure.
Yes. And so, the concept of sovereignty is that each individual human being comes onto this earth alone and will leave alone, right? And really is traveling through their lifetime alone, choosing to be in partnership with others during that journey of being alone, right? And you're making your own individual decisions for your own career, your own life, your own family, etc. And so, a lot of times sovereignty is lost in traditional relationships because it's given up on purpose by oftentimes the woman in the relationship, if we're talking about a traditional relationship, a monogamous relationship. And so when you have the concept of sovereignty, I think it really, and you practice it, meaning you respect the other person's life and their choices, right? Then you are able to lend yourself and your life to different types of open relationships like the ones that you're living. And I just have found spending time with you guys has been really inspiring to see, because I've always considered myself poly. And so I love to see polyamory in action. So why don't you tell me one by one, like what's your most favorite part of the life that you've created for yourself?
I would say finding people at the same level in life that I am, that I can actually communicate with, and what do you say? I don't know. They're still on the same journey that I am. I would say. Somebody I can actually lean on and help them to actually ask advice for, and maybe trade stories with, and maybe find a little inspirations to continue on with my journey. Jerry provides that for me. I'm in a community of other men that are on a similar path as well. That's what I find the most invigorating and exciting for me, taking this journey now, and also having my wife with me, and having her finding someone that actually like Eunice, and they have a girl's group that she can lean on in these times. Like I said, we're all going through certain things and that we have never experienced before. Like you all have experienced things that we haven't, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like I might need to cross that bridge that you crossed 2 years ago, and like, hey, what did you do in this situation, and so on and so forth. So just having someone that I can lean on and has a similar experiences that I may be going through, that I can actually ask and reflect on. So that's what I find very, yeah.
For me, I think it's the friendships, the relationships that I built, the ability to be myself when I, in the environment that we're in, without questioning, what I'm doing. I think, like, again, back to relationships, like we, being able to be part of a group of women that kind of lean on each other, and we still can come back and, be with our husbands, and maybe we kind of feed off each other, like, what can we do? What can be better? So just that relationship of like talking things out, I guess, is what it is. But for me, the lifestyle and the part that I like the best is being able to go out, wear whatever I want to wear, look the way I want to look, and nobody is judging or criticizing, and nobody. I mean, I guess you want to think nobody really judges you, but for me, that's the best part of this lifestyle.
Nadine?
The best part of the lifestyle is it's a judgment-free zone most of the time. Like, it's just, people are there to support you, the friendships you make. I mean, never would we have moved in with, I don't think, any of our vanilla friends. And living together so far has been super easy. You know, at first, you know, it's like, oh, it sounded good. Like, yes, we're going to live with our best friends. And, you know, every time we'd see each other, we would be partying, and it was a long weekend and it was fun. But then when we agreed to it, I was like, are we really going to do this? I would look at it like, what the F were we thinking? And in actuality, I enjoy when Eunice comes home from work. It's like, hey, Eunice, you know, we chit chat, we catch up, you know, Jerry comes in later. It's just, yeah, I enjoy living with them as much as at first I was like excited, and then at the same time, like, what the fuck thinking to agree to this, really. But yeah, the friendships you make in the lifestyle, friendships I did not build before with my vanilla friends. And the vanilla friends that are aware of our lifestyle are my closest friends, and you know, they don't judge. They're super supportive. Yeah, I wish everybody would experience a lifestyle.
Okay, Jerry.
For me, I think it's just that piece. Like, part of the tip of the iceberg one is sovereignty, because within that, we can be in the same space, but be and feel and think totally different about things, and we respect everybody's opinion, and it doesn't have to be like mine. So to me, that is huge. Like, Tig and they don't want to go somewhere. Oh my God. Okay, cool. It doesn't mean we all have to go. It doesn't have to be a monolith. We don't have to think the same. We can all have our different views of different things. And it's like, oh, I hate that place. Oh, I love that place. Okay, cool. We don't have any ill wills or feelings that allow everybody to operate in their space, which leads me to what I think has been the happiest or best thing that is manifested from this relationship, or where we are in the lifestyle, is the fact that my wife has allowed me to do and be as I truly feel and want to be. Like, she hasn't restricted me in any way. I think she's let me go above and beyond that any people, even veteran people within the lifestyle, don't typically see. And so for her allowing me to explore these other relationship possibilities and things like that, it has been a rocky road to get here, but getting here, I don't think I would have changed it, and I don't think it has made us stronger than I think we've ever been because of it. So that would be my number one.
Okay. I love all of this. I love all of this, and
It is St. Eunice.
St. Eunice. And this brings us to authenticity, right? Authenticity, being your true, full, authentic self. And you said that you wouldn't have this sort of relationship with your quote unquote vanilla friends, right? Or the people that are not participating in the lifestyle. Because you can't truly be your full authentic selves with them, right? Even the ones that they do know that you are in this lifestyle, again, still, if you were to live with them, there would be some boundaries needing to be, created, because you wouldn't be able to be your full authentic selves around them at all times, right? And so that leads me to authenticity. But I would love for you guys to talk about how it feels to be fully and truly your authentic selves. And when you have a community like that respects you and that's open-minded and that's not judgmental, how that has impacted your life. Go for it, Nadine.
Yeah, since being with Tig, and he's the one who introduced me to the lifestyle. I've gained a lot of confidence. I don't judge myself anymore. I don't doubt myself as much as in the past. It's giving me a lot of confidence, and I can just be myself. He lets me be myself. I can be silly, angry, fun. I mean, he just doesn't judge me. He truly lets me be who I am. And people who've known me prior to me meeting Tig are saying I was a totally different person. And I don't think that, and being in the lifestyle has allowed me even more to be truly myself, the way I want to be.
That's beautiful. And it sounds like he's bringing out the best in you, really, because if other people have known you in previous relationships and see that you seem happier now, which is what I'm extrapolating from what you're saying, right? You're happier in this relationship than you were in the past. I think that that's a beautiful thing. And that just reminds me of my own personal journey and, having gone through a divorce and having very poor communication in that relationship. And it's interesting because, one of my daughters said to me, well, I never heard you guys argue, and I said, well, we didn't argue because I didn't know how to communicate. And so in order to have that type of relationship where it is a very healthy relationship, communication is so important. And I constantly am talking about communication and radical honesty. And radical honesty means saying the hard shit, right? When you don't want to say the hard shit. And so, and I would guess that being in a relationship such as yours, polyamory, swinger relationships, you have to say the hard stuff. You have to broach those conversations and not be afraid. And so do you want to talk about like how you've come to radical honesty in your relationships? And, Jerry mentioned you're not perfect. It's not always a perfect way of communicating. But you have developed a sense of that radical honesty so that you can broach those difficult subjects to get beyond them and to continue to grow your relationships to get stronger and closer. So do you want to who wants to jump in about radical honesty? Are you looking for a sexy date? Look no further than SDC.com. SDC.com is the premier ethically non-monogamous website that is worldwide. It also hosts a wealth of information on sexuality and sexual health, and I host a free live webinar monthly on the site. You can use code 37340 for a free trial membership on me, and be sure to reach out on the site and say hello.
I can say, okay, so growing up in our culture, like you are taught, well, Hispanic, I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, so we are,
as am I,
we are brought up to basically serve your man. Like that is what our responsibility is as a woman. And you do lose who you are. I've learned because it is hard to be honest, like really honest to say the things that need to be said. And I know that to be for him as well. And I think it's just the way that we were brought up. So like, I think it, for me, is like, it's embarrassing if I want to do something and I say it and I don't know how it's gonna come out. You know what I mean? Like I have to think about it so many times before I say it, because I feel like, oh my God, like how is he gonna take it or whatever. But we've worked through some of those things, because it's like, okay, well, this is what I would like to do. And even making myself vulnerable to him and to other people because I let the honesty come out. So I think it's important to be honest. I think that if without it, like, this doesn't work. At least it wouldn't work for us.
100%. I mean, honesty is so important in relationships. And I think that a lot of relationships have a really hard time and struggle with that because they start to worry about what the other person's going to say, what their reaction's going to be. They're fearful that it might end things between them. And they go to like the extremes where, you know, as adults, we are all adults here, right? We can take a lot more than we give ourselves credit for, right? We can handle a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. And this is the fifth entity in the relationship. And this little kitty cat gets love from everybody who comes into this home, including the guests.
He is.
So yes, he's definitely taking part in this interview today. But I am super grateful for all of you for being willing to have this conversation with me today. And I would really love to maybe interview maybe one of you, maybe two of you, maybe all four of you individually throughout this next season that's coming up, to really like dig more into each one of your experiences, if you'd be open to that. And kitty cat, don't touch my camera right now. We're working here. So with that being said, I just want to thank you all for participating in this interview of Please Me podcast today. This is going to be a really fun one to release. It's not our traditional show, but I think it's really fun to have these like in-person interviews sometimes with guests that, you know, when else am I going to have the opportunity to sit around a kitchen counter and talk about kitchen table polyamory with two couples that are living together? So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Until next time. Hey, I have a personal question to ask you. Are you experiencing vaginal dryness? Are you looking for an all-natural lube that helps you get the juices flowing? I will give you a tip on what I use. I use Bonnie's Herbals. I use the sex butter for those intimate moments, and I use the boudoir butter for my everyday moisture. And these have been game changers for me. So check out the link in the show notes and get yours today.